Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whaling.
And I'm Chico. To go with the theme of the... It wasn't great. It wasn't.
Oh my god.
I don't know, because there's Groucho, there's Chico, there's Zeppo, and there's...
Oh my god, you literally said his name last week.
I know.
Harpo.
Harpo. Thanks.
Oh my god.
That was the only one I remembered, too.
Oh, Jesus. Well, welcome back, everyone. So Jeremy, do you have any statements you'd like to redact?
Nope.
No? Okay, good.
Nope.
I feel like there's something else I wanted to say.
I will not.
I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember. I don't remember.
Cool.
This isn't really that important, but I mean, I've been listening to a new band recently called Glass Jaw. Have you ever heard of them before?
No.
They're like post-hardcore. I haven't made it through the album that was recommended to me, but
I say, who recommended it?
no one. I was just reading.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading about a band I really like called Glass Cloud.
Oh.
Really good band.
No relation.
No relation. But no relation. But the guitarist went to go work for them, play for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting.
I was like, Glass Jaw. What's this? And
That's not bad.
not too bad.
Okay.
It's kind of like like Brand New, which you and
I
I
love Brand New so much.
are both big fans of Brand New.
Yeah.
Shout out to, I know this is kind of a cop out, but shout out to science fiction, dude. That's my favorite one.
Is it really the last one?
I fucking love science fiction.
It's great. Science
because
fiction.
they went out on a bang.
I know, man. I know.
They were like, we're gonna end it, but
I know. Kel got to go see them play after science fiction came out.
Did they say like, all right, guys, this is our last show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Love you, bye.
Yeah, and that was
Okay,
it.
thanks, bye.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And they just walk off stage like, you didn't even play a song.
No, you didn't say anything. No, but I was so jealous because science fiction hadn't come out yet when I saw them last, and so
Nice.
it was a bummer. The last one I think I went to was when they played "The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me" all the way through from start to finish.
Dude, and see, that's another, hang on, everyone. That's another dope album. See, it's so funny that you and I would also not only, of course, bond over movies and, having almost a 10-year friendship, but also music taste.
It's more than that, but that's fine.
Still,
That's
anyway.
fine.
Because I remember being at Hot Topic one time, and
When it was scary.
when it was when my mother would walk by and be like, I don't ever want you going to that store.
It was so scary.
I know. And then I live there. Now it's all Gen Z-defied. But anyway.
It's terrible.
You remember when they used to have music that they would sell? Like actual CDs that they would sell in Hot Topic? Well, I was standing there looking at all the CDs, and the guy was like, yeah, man, are you looking for anything specific? And I was like, yeah, maybe something new. And he was like, bro. He was like, this just came out. Listen to it. He was like, just listen to the first track and tell me what you think. And it was Daisy.
Oh, Daisy.
Daisy had
Nice.
just come out.
And that
I was
first track.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that first track, Vices, man, that slaps. It gets your attention, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right.
Anyway, it just, I feel like I had to announce something. Of course. Yeah. But Glass Jaw. I mean, if you like Brand New, check out Glass Jaw.
I might.
Yeah. I'll show you a little bit when we're done.
All right.
But anyway, okay. So to the movie. So Jeremy.
Yeah.
I was going to wait till we got into it, but
Sure.
why did you pick this movie?
Good question. So,
Considering we probably both just finished it today.
I watched it yesterday. But,
okay. I literally finished it 3 hours ago.
Okay. So I had always heard of the Marx Brothers. And as an aficionado of lists, I love when people say hey, top 100 movies right here, check it out. And I go, well, let's see what they think, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times Duck Soup is on there. A lot of times. So I've been aware of this movie for, God, I don't know, over a decade. Because I remember when AFI, I think this is back in 2008, so I guess longer than 10.
Around the time Daisy came out.
Jesus Christ, 2007.
Let's tie it all back together.
It's all connected, guys. 2008, they released a documentary series. I mean, it had to be a few episodes long because they couldn't do it all at once, but they were going through from 100 to 1, right?
Okay.
And talking heads and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not the band, but the people that talk about the movie. And so they're going one by one, and then one of them was Duck Soup, right?
Uh-huh.
And the name is silly, but I was, it didn't interest me at the time, but, whatever. And so it was there.
Right.
And then, I would see it while browsing movies in stores for years and years. And I think a few years ago, I was learning a little bit more about the Marx Brothers. I had bought the collection that you had bought for this episode. And then I just sat on it. I didn't do anything with it. And then I was like, you know what? Good excuse. Let's break this thing open. Let's pop in a Marx Brothers movie because I've heard they're hilarious and I've heard it's,
Yeah, and so we're talking about Duck Soup, everyone, in case you missed it last week. But, and I've never seen a Marx Brothers film either. I mean, obviously. But I've always heard about how innovative they were in the realm of comedy. Mm-hmm. I know Groucho is the most iconic of the Marx Brothers.
I agree.
With his grease paint mustache and
eyebrows. And cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and that's another thing, because it is ingrained in the culture, and so even like old Bugs Bunny cartoons or as recent as Family Guy will mention Groucho. Right. And do the bit with the cigar and the mustache and the eyebrows.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, because it's one of my favorite bits of this movie. But Robin Williams and Aladdin, didn't the genie become Groucho at one point?
Yeah.
I'm like 90% certain
I'm pretty sure he did, because he also became
Jack Nicholson
and Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre.
You know how kids love Peter Lorre.
Yeah, and fucking Rodney Dangerfield.
I know. So I guarantee, and I do remember vaguely the mustache and eyebrows.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's one of my favorite bits of that whole movie is that Robin was just doing different impressions. Like, how would that work in turn of the century
or in a kids movie?
Exactly. Anyway,
regardless.
Okay, so Duck Soup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a plot to this movie, but I mean, if you want to
it's loose.
Just want to summarize it real quick for the audience.
Sure.
I don't know if I can.
Sure. Groucho plays Rufus T. Firefly. Shout out to our Devil's Rejects episode.
Is that
every character in that family is named after a Groucho character in a movie? So
oh my fucking God.
The matriarch is Madame Firefly, by the way.
Well, yeah, because I knew they were the Firefly. Is that how Rob Zombie came up with that?
Yeah, and they even talk about it in Devil's Rejects that all of them are named after Groucho characters. Yeah, I know. Anyway,
Jesus.
So anyway, Rufus T. Firefly is appointed by some lady. I don't know.
This rich lady.
Yeah, some rich lady in Fredonia to run the country, right? Of course, it's a fictional place. She is also being courted by the leader of the neighboring country of Sylvania. And I think at one point it was Amnesia was a name for the, yeah, I know. Anyway, and so to keep them from going bankrupt or going to war, they appoint Rufus T. Firefly, and he's trying to keep the country afloat. However, he keeps getting in confrontations with the leader of Sylvania, and they end up going to war anyway. And it's the film is sort of an indictment on politics and
because it's 1930,
sort of, right?
Yeah, because it's 1933.
And the people who make these life-changing decisions, right? In a way, right? You could read it that way. I don't know if that was their intention at the very beginning. I've read that Groucho was quoted as saying, "We were just four Jews trying to get a laugh." Like we're not trying to say anything special.
I mean, I meant to look it up, but everywhere I kind of found it was just listed as a dark comedy.
Sure.
A musical dark comedy. And musical is loose. There's just 3 songs.
Yeah, 2 or 3 songs. Yeah. It's
so.
And that's the plot, by the way.
Yeah.
The movie ends so abruptly. Also, we'll get to that. But okay, let's.
How can we stretch this into an hour?
I don't know. Well, because the movie is only an hour, right? And so that's sort of like that's going to be the difficult part. This might be a short one, but let's talk about the things I loved about it.
Okay.
Right? The things I loved about it are the rapid fire dialogue. Obsessed.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And that's something that I read about Groucho is that he was known, like he is, become this comedy legend of, wit and just quick quips and, and and I always thought it was a joke of people reflecting back on that time in history, always being like, talking really fast and like, tell you what, Sonny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's real.
It's real. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause as soon as Groucho opens his mouth, dude, it's nonstop.
I know. It's crazy. It's really fast. Right. So, all right. So the rapid dialogue, love it. Right. I love how, and from what I am told, it is like this in their other films, is that Groucho is sort of he's the fast talking, quick witted, smart ass.
Mm-hmm.
He's that, right?
Right.
Chico is sort of like the tough guy, but he's sort of a buffoon. He's sort of whatever, right?
Right.
It's Harpo that's the most interesting because he's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
He is literally an absurdist comic because, he's pulling things out of his pocket that shouldn't fit, right? And he's nonverbal and he's cutting everything and he's, right? That bit where he goes, do you have his record? And he hands him a vinyl, right? And then when the guy throws it, he grabs a gun and shoots it, right? And then Chico gets a cigar out of the box and goes, and the kid gets a cigar. Good job, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of shit that I love about Harpo specifically because he's a different style than the rest, right? It's almost like if this were animated, he would be a different style than everybody else.
Almost be Daffy Duck.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then there's Zeppo.
Yeah, Zeppo's there. For the last time, Zeppo does not appear in any other Marx Brothers films.
And I read that these were the first films they did with Paramount, and then they left and did films with other companies.
Yes, Night at the Opera, I think, is Warner Brothers, and so yeah, they were not.
Hang on. Here's a question though.
Sure.
If the movie was done by Paramount, why isn't when I popped in my Blu-ray it had the Universal logo at the beginning?
I think they have the distributing rights. Yeah. Because it still said Paramount when he popped it in.
Right. Yeah. But I was just like, what?
I know. It's confusing.
But Paramount.
I know. It's confusing. But especially with the older films, distributing rights get bought up by other companies. No matter who made it the first time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's what I love about the 4, the 3, and then Zeppo.
Zeppo's just there.
Zeppo's so boring, but I think he's
supposed to be the straight man.
Yes, and he is, and that's an important part, right?
Yeah.
Without Zeppo, I mean, not necessarily in this film, but I assume in others, right? It highlights the ridiculousness of everybody else, right?
It's almost like without a straight man, it's just the Three Stooges.
Yeah, exactly. Without Michael Bluth, it's chaos in Arrested Development, right?
Yeah.
You need the straight man. He may be boring, in a sense, but he is integral to the importance and the flow and the balance of the dynamics, right?
Right.
So that's why Zeppo's important, but who cares? He's barely in this movie anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I don't even think he's the youngest, but he looks like he's the youngest, right? Zeppo. Anyway.
I know Chico and Harpo are older, at least older than Groucho.
They are.
But
maybe Zeppo is younger.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. So, all right. Dialogue is great. The running gags, especially of the sidecar.
Yeah.
And
the
motorcycle. That shit was funny.
Dude, yeah, the motorcycle got me.
Yeah.
Because when he does it the first time, it's just like, oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
But then when it happens the second time, and he's like, I've been on 5 trips and never went anywhere.
Yeah.
And then he switches it up and gets on the motorcycle, and the cart takes off, and he's like, it's the only way to travel.
It's so funny, man. I'm telling you. I laughed out loud so many times in this film.
There's a lot of things that really got me. Some things I was like, ooh, definitely of the times.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things, a couple of quick witticisms of Groucho that I think would have made more sense if I were 90 years old. Because the vocabulary, the vernacular, the cadence, we don't do that anymore. And so a lot of what he's saying, the Armstrong bit is sort of like, yikes.
Oh,
right?
That was the one. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that one was, wow. But
yeah, because you didn't need any translating for that. No. It was very, yeah.
I know. But there's some other things that he said that I don't remember because it didn't register, right?
Right.
It was a joke, it was a reference, it was something of the time that I don't understand.
Right.
Right. And I mean that's sort of the hand you're dealt when you're, watching a movie this old.
Yeah, when you're watching a movie that was 60 years old by the time we were born.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's, you get it.
Yeah.
So, fuck. What was I saying? You bastard.
Okay, hang on. You were talking about...
Oh, genuinely laughing out loud. I think eventually some of the stuff with Chico and Harpo with the lemonade guy was making me laugh, but I think it was a little too much, which is crazy because this movie's an hour long, but...
I will say that it did feel like it kind of slowed the pacing down a little bit
because it's just a meanwhile, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile,
right,
the 2 spies that were hired.
And of course, it pays off though because when Harpo's in his Paul Revere getup, and
that made me laugh so hard when the curtain pulls back and they're all in like revolutionary garb. I was like, that's fucking funny. And then the whole like, 1 by land, 2 by sea, and they lied all 3. I've been double crossed. They're coming by land and sea. That I was like, that's fucking good.
It's really good, right?
Yeah.
And when he goes in and it goes in that woman's house, and thank God she's into it because at first I was like,
what?
Hold on, buddy. Consent has not been given, but anyway, she's into it.
Yeah,
It turns out it's the wife of the lemonade guy. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, and I immediately called it like he's hiding in the tub.
It's so good, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And he just slowly kind of comes up and then books it.
I think one of the main takeaways from this film that has really lasted the test of time is, I think, one of the coolest scenes in the film, and that's the mirror scene.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest. Because I did want to talk about the mirror scene.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite bits in old Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, like old 40s and 50s cartoons. That's one of my favorite bits.
Yeah.
Especially, granted, this one is done the way it's supposed to be done, but especially when like you can tell it's a different person.
Yeah.
Like the only reason why I know this is because we have Boomerang playing on the TV at work a lot. So, like, there's one with a Tom and Jerry where Tom does it with an orange cat.
That's fine.
And the orange cat is clearly not trying to not be anyone but himself.
Yeah.
But they're still mimicking each other's movements. And
that's funny.
It's still one of my favorite bits.
It's so funny. And it was a bit when they were, doing stage stuff in vaudeville and stuff. And so they would do this, right? And it was the director's idea to put it in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so remarkable what a mustache and eyebrows can do because they look exactly the same. Like, it took me a minute to be like, okay, now, is this Harpo or is that Groucho?
Well,
right?
and they do it in a wide shot, so it's hard to really pinpoint who's who.
Of course, and of course the costumes with the nightgown and the cap, genius. It's brilliant, right? And it only took them 2 hours to shoot it.
Really?
Which means, I mean, they had it down to a science. These guys have been doing it for years and years and years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, it would make sense that it wouldn't take very long for them to just get back in the rhythm and do it again.
And I like how I laughed out really loud when they switch places. And it's like, okay, at this point, it's not a mirror.
I know, right?
But Groucho keeps trying to test him, like, hang on. Like,
yeah, when you think it's going to be over, it lasted longer than I was expecting. And there was a point where he sort of just dipped his glasses down and then looked around the corner. And that made me laugh. I mean, again, stuff in this stuff is so classic and so pure in comedy that's why it's still so funny. Right.
Yeah. And it's funny that you've said that because, as we were talking about off mic, when the movie was released, it wasn't that well received compared to their other films.
Other stuff, yeah.
Prior to this, but it's only been, not like recently, but people have now kind of recognized and said how it's their masterpiece.
Right.
Which, again, I don't have a lot to draw on.
Right, I don't either. Eventually, I'll see the other ones.
Yeah, but I definitely...
I think there were 4.
Yeah, there's 5 in the set.
Okay, so 4 before this, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, and I just love Groucho's wit. Like, and a lot of the stuff he says is kind of nonsensical.
Yeah.
Which I also love. Yeah. Like when he first starts talking to people, he, like the rich lady. One of my favorite things he says to her is the whole like, come on, let's get married. Oh, because she says that her husband died. And he's like, well, let's get married. Did he leave you any money? Answer the second one first.
Right, exactly.
And I was like, it's so funny. And it was before Ashley started working on her computer, so she heard that. I was like, tell me you heard that. She was like, yeah, it was pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. But I love the whole, because Zeppo's his secretary. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I need you to send a letter to my dentist with a check of $500. Yours truly. But I can't send it without a check. You send a $500 check, you're fired. Yeah. Like that was getting me more than the plot, and
again, the plot is loose. I think that even from what I've read, they were like, yeah, the plot wasn't super important.
Yeah.
We're trying for laughs. We're trying to to make a comedy. We're not really trying to do anything else. Which is why, not to segue, but I think the reason why people think this is a masterpiece is sort of maybe misguided. Okay. Because they see it as an indictment on politics, an indictment on war, a political satire. Where satire is there, I'm not sure if those were the original intentions, right?
Yeah. Like let's take The Great Dictator, for example.
Okay. God, wonderful film.
Yeah, awesome. Another great classic that still holds up today.
Of course.
Charlie Chaplin. We briefly touched on it in our Chaplin episode, but he wanted to make this film a satire. It's going to be the Tramp's final film, but to hold up, as satire is, holding up a mirror and saying, "Hey, look, this is what's wrong."
Yeah.
That movie was made with the intention of being a satire,
right?
Showing how pretty much dumb Hitler was and how dumb the war was, and
Right.
I didn't get a lot of that.
I didn't either, and I was looking for it because I had heard this was a political satire.
This would have been around 1933.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know history. You're gonna have to do this one.
Hopefully Future Ren will correct me.
It's an in-betweener. Okay? It's in between world wars. I don't know if there was any sort of political unrest at the time.
It's gotta be... Fuck. Dude, and I'm really good at history.
Oh. It's during the Great Depression, number one, but...
yeah, so it would have been before World War II. Then.
Yes, it is before
almost
World War II.
Like right before.
Well, World War II kicked off in 1939, so it's...
yeah.
So that much I knew.
Okay.
I just knew that...
There we go.
I wasn't sure if there were any wars going on at the time.
No. So then then that would make sense.
Right. I think the money stuff, like with the Treasury and with the... We owe them $20 million, whatever, how many it was, $9 million.
It was $20 million.
$20 million.
Because then he was like, then spot me 20, I'll give you a personal note. In 90 days, you could keep the note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that drives a little more home at the time because of the Great Depression, right? Because of the economic status of America, right? Anything else I don't know. Anything else I'm not sure, because to me I'm not really seeing too much of a glaring criticism of anybody or anything, except for the Italian president. Do they have presidents? It doesn't matter. Whoever's running Italy at the time banned the film because he thought they were making fun of him.
Really?
Which is odd, right? So somebody saw something, right? And I think maybe, I'm not saying that there isn't any validity to the fact that this is a political satire masterpiece. I don't think so, but that doesn't mean that it isn't. It just, means I'm too dumb to realize it. Or I just don't know enough about the history at the time, right?
Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty good when it comes to certain kinds of history. And I'm not remembering, because, this would be around the Great Depression, so, people are hurting for money. Yeah, so that would make sense. But even then, the whole treasury stuff it's over.
I know.
We're done. We're done with it.
It was so important in the beginning, and then it's sort of gone, right?
Yeah.
Again, because the plot doesn't matter, right?
I wonder if maybe it was more of like, because if World War II's in 1939, that must have meant that, Hitler was active. Yeah, because he was active, gaining followers. I don't know, man.
Listen, here's what I think the main point of the film is.
Okay.
We're going to put these four guys who aren't going to change their accents. They're not going to change the way they dress. They're not going to change anything about themselves. We're going to put them in this situation and comedy ensues, right?
Yeah.
Which is 60 years later, Spielberg would take this approach with the Animaniacs. And anytime the Animaniacs were in a short where they were in like 1940s Hamburg or whatever, they would be the Animaniacs. They would just be there, right?
Well,
react.
And it's funny you say that, because Groucho and
Jesus.
Yakko are almost identical.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities between them.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
think
I was like,
that's okay. Yeah, Yakko.
He was like, he's not Wacko, because Wacko's the one with the red hat, and obviously he's not Dot. It's like, so which one is it?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's that, from what I understand, the other films work this way too. They're just the Marx brothers being put in these situations. Yes, their names are changed, but that's pretty much it, right?
Okay.
Yes, they have a backstory in this, you know what I mean? They're not showing up as the Marx brothers. They're showing up as their character that they need to be for the plot to make sense, but...
Is it kind of like the same thing, again, with Charlie Chaplin, with the tramp being dropped into this situation?
Yeah, sort of. I think that's more of a... let's put the tramp in this situation, where in the tramp's case, it was all pretty much contemporary time, right?
Right.
Where this, I don't know, maybe, it seems the time is not an issue,
because it's like...
Time period doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because they have motorcycles, but then everyone's in like 1800s villages.
I know, it looks so weird, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the bit that made me laugh so much, I mean, a ton of them, but during the war part, the battle, anytime we see Groucho, after we cut back to Groucho in a scene, he's wearing a different costume.
Yeah, like he's wearing like
all the way back to Davy Crockett. He's wearing a Davy Crockett.
Yeah, like he wears like a Teddy Roosevelt-esque like military attire,
like a Napoleon type thing,
and then like he like a Civil War hat, and then like my favorite one is when like the rich lady calls him and he's in his underwear.
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, you can come over here. It's perfectly safe." Yeah, and then like. You tried to replicate a bit like that when we did our short Worst Week of My Life with the whole cups.
Yes, with the mugs.
And I guess it was my fault because even though I knew that was the bit, I was like, why did you get it different? Oh, I just didn't like any of those shots. Or,
I understand.
So I just happened to choose the ones where you have the same cup every single time.
Damn it.
Yeah, but oh well. Had I liked those shots.
Sure, yeah.
But see, this also proves I could never be an editor.
We could have won
an Academy
Award if you had kept those shots.
They would have been like, these guys, man.
Man.
The Marx Brothers would have been proud.
I know. Did you see that mug bit? Holy shit.
Yeah, but this proves I could never be an editor. I mean, this I can edit really well, but like, yeah, no, I could. Sitting there and editing a whole film and story together, yeah.
It sounds hard.
I think I'd fuck it up. As I kind of did.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, you know, and just kind of like our Office Space episode. Shout out to our Office Space episode.
Definitely.
This movie is a lot of bits, you know. Like the mirror bit, of course. My favorite is the identity bit where Chico dresses up like Groucho. Because they lock him in the bathroom. And then, because they're trying to get the war plans from Gloria, I think that's the rich lady.
Mm-hmm.
And then Harpo dresses up, not knowing that Chico's done it. And then they both end up in a room and they're having to like hide under the bed.
It's
and,
awesome.
Like,
yeah.
Get out really quickly. And, yeah.
And they truly are brothers because they look exactly the same.
But but one of my favorite bits is the whole like, don't make a sound. They can't know you're here.
Yes.
And Harpo keeps making sounds. The first time, purely intentional. Like when he's playing the piano, plucking the strings in the piano. But then when he goes to the safe and he thinks it's the safe, but it's the radio.
The radio.
That made me laugh so hard. Because he's so confident. He's like, okay. And then the radio starts playing and he's like, oh, no, and throws it out the window. That doesn't do anything. And it's still playing. And see, and that's another one of my favorite bits from like old cartoons is when like the sound won't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this is essentially like a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but yeah, man, all the bits were really good. Of course, another one that we were kind of talking about off mic was the pot, or the pot.
It's like a pitcher or something. Then he gets stuck on his head.
And because he asks for water, and they bring him again a comically large pitcher of water that gets stuck on his head, and so Harpo's character, without missing a beat, draws his face.
Instead of trying to get it off, he just drew his face on it. It's so funny, man.
And then he sticks a little piece of dynamite up there to blow it off.
Yeah.
And I love just when it comes off and he's like, did I have any mail while I was gone?
I know, man. I'm telling you. These bits are classic, and these guys, you know, it'll last forever, essentially.
Oh, absolutely.
It's lasted this long anyway.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, and clearly, you know, Hollywood was so enamored with the Marx Brothers that, well, especially Groucho, because, you know, he kept acting well into the 60s before he finally retired and then passed away in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, you know, Hollywood...
Harpo had a show there for a while, yeah. It was just called Harpo Marx. He recreated the mirror bit with Lucille Ball on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
This is before or after Lucille Ball went crazy?
Good question. Probably before.
When she thought she was getting the radio in her head.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it you know, so the reason why I wanted to start the show with asking you why this is because the whole time I was watching it, I was like, even though this is funny, why did he pick this?
Yeah.
Especially with following such a serious movie as Beautiful Boy.
I mean, that's kind of why. But, you know,
I mean,
I wanted it,
true.
You know, a good balance. I didn't want it to be the same thing over and over again.
I mean, I've done the same thing to you, you know. Like,
yeah, it's just...
Did Requiem and then did Truman Show right after that.
Yeah,
I mean... I was like, fuck, I need to laugh. Even though that movie's
sad.
Gets kind of down, too. Oh, shit, I got something in my eye now.
Nah.
But yeah, but, you know, it's... But at the same time, it's one of those old classics that you kind of walk away from like, you know, I'm glad I finally saw that.
Yeah.
You know, because it does sort of, as, I mean, you and I don't know how everyone else feels, getting a window into old Hollywood, you know, because, you know, yeah, like there's books and documentaries out there about how Hollywood was, but I feel like really, in order to understand it, you have to see a film from that time period. And I haven't seen many films, you know. I think the oldest film that I've seen is, shout out to our Metropolis episode.
Yeah.
I think that's no, that's a lie.
Is that a lie?
Oldest film I've seen is A Trip to the Moon.
Oh, yeah, that's 1902.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never seen any like real old Hollywood. Like, yes, Sunset Boulevard is still sort of old Hollywood.
Technically, well, it's
old Hollywood that has through the lens of new Hollywood.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Did we do an episode on that?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
because you were really excited because that was right after our No Country for Old Men.
That's right. And then
Because we had to crank that one out really quickly,
Yeah, that
and
was
then we
right.
did Sunset Boulevard.
That's right, Sunset Boulevard.
But you know, and that movie even was looking back at old Hollywood.
Looking back, exactly, it was a retrospective in a way, right? In this sort of
shout out to
lens.
Sunset Boulevard, man.
For sure.
If that movie's ever remade, I will give up on movies. I will never see another movie if that movie's ever remade.
Jesus.
The movie's perfect.
I know.
But anyway, yeah, you know, and so seeing a film from 1933 now, you know, I saw, like, again, like what I was saying about, you know, hearing the fast-paced talking. Like, I always just thought it was a comedic bit, you know, that you've seen on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
You know, 90s cartoons trying to make fun of that, you know. But actually hearing someone actually talk like that, and of course it's only Groucho.
Pretty much.
Like that.
I mean, a lot of them can talk pretty quickly, but Groucho's doing it.
Yeah, but it was like, I was like, holy shit, that's real. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. But, you know, but I didn't hate it.
No.
It's
It's
fucking
great.
hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
Again, which is why I think when people say this is a political satire through and through, I say, okay, maybe. Right?
Yeah,
maybe. But let's take a look at the ending. Okay?
Yes.
No. I don't believe you. Because the way it ends, it goes, okay, jokes are over, movie's over. Right?
Yeah.
Because it ends so abruptly with them, you know, throwing food at that guy.
Because he's
At
like,
our
I surrender. And they're like, oh, well, you have to wait till the fruits run out.
Right. And then Gloria is, you know, Fredonia wins, right?
And then she starts singing the anthem, and they're like, ugh, and they start throwing it at her.
Right.
And then it's over.
And then the movie's over,
Yeah.
right? So, yes, maybe. Right? Maybe there is that. Maybe it's like these buffoons just started a war and...
Somehow ended it.
What? And you know, sure. Maybe that's an indictment on, you know, war and the people that create these policies and create the decisions that, you know, send people to war, whatever.
Yeah.
If it is the least heavy-handed I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, we've talked about satires on the podcast before, you know, shout out to Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
You know,
Even Sunset Boulevard is considered a satire.
Really?
Yeah. Of old Hollywood.
That makes sense.
Under the blanket of noir.
Yeah. Yeah. And most satire can be very heavy-handed. I mean, the satire of Blazing Saddles is racism is bad.
Yeah.
That movie can be heavy-handed, but Mel did it in a way where it's not the movie we were talking about off camera or off mic that you just watched from Spike Lee.
I did. I watched Bamboozled, by the way, last night. After this movie, I watched Bamboozled.
I read a review after you told me it came in. I read a review that said that its satire is very heavy-handed.
It is. Yeah.
So if this is a satire, it's
good job, because
it's like 1%.
I missed it.
It's like 1% of the movie.
Yeah, good job.
I would
missed
say
it.
the other 99 is just pure slapstick.
Which is what I think. Let's say their intention was to make a political satire. This is the way they would have done it anyway, because they care about the comedy more.
Yeah.
I don't. You know, from what I've read, they're just like, dude, we're doing jokes, man. I don't know what you want from me.
These are just jokes.
Yeah, I'm just doing bits up here. I don't.
Yeah. Well, especially, their history in theater and vaudeville.
Yeah.
Of course, they would care more about the performance and the laughs.
Of course.
More than the message.
Yes. I agree with that.
Of course,
completely.
this is right around the time I would say that people started being like, well, we need to care about the message. Like, if we're trying to get a message across, we need to start caring about it. But then again, I'm going to go back to Blazing Saddles. Yes, Mel was making a point of, hey, racism is bad.
Yeah.
But that movie's fucking hilarious.
I know.
And Mel, also a comedic writer, wanted the comedy to shine through. And,
of course.
But again,
in this one, it's if there is a message, it's comedy first, message second. Yeah. Right? The message is barely there.
For sure.
If anything. If there at all. Right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I gathered the opinion that there might not be a message from Woody Allen. I know it's unfortunate, but Woody Allen says it's a phenomenal film, but I don't agree that it's a political satire, right? And I go, oh, that's interesting. Let me look at it that way. And then I did, and I go, he's probably right.
That monster is
that
probably
son of a
right.
bitch,
That douchebag is probably right.
Probably right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't want to agree with Woody Allen.
I don't either, but
he's probably right.
Listen, if I'm going to agree with him on anything, it's just going to be this. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, I disagree with Woody Allen, but with this, he's on it.
Sidebar: I've never seen a Woody Allen film. No, I haven't seen any of them.
Fun fact: this is an aside. I grew up in a household that hated Woody Allen, so neither did I.
So it was ingrained for you to already...
Pretty much, and it was before all of that, right? My parents just thought he was dumb and pretentious, right? They hated his movies because they're terrible.
And now you watch pretentious movies.
I know, right? But the only one I know my dad has seen that he liked was Midnight in Paris, and that's the only one I've seen.
I've heard Midnight in Paris is awesome.
It is good. I'm so sorry. This is not
anyway.
But
but yeah, no, he's probably right. There's probably no message.
I'd like to think there's no message.
I mean,
I don't know why I liked it, because normally I think the opposite. But for me, I like thinking that they're just making a silly comedy, right?
Yeah.
With laughs, X amount of laughs a minute. That's what we care about, you know.
Yeah, I would agree to that too.
And I don't think that means it needs to be taken off any sort of list.
No,
I think that it still needs to stay.
Oh, for sure.
Because if nothing else, it's funny as fuck, man. You gotta see it. I don't know where you can see it, but you gotta see it.
Yeah,
if you're a streaming person, I have no idea where it's at.
I'm gonna be honest. I looked into that because I was like, I kind of don't want to buy this. I'd rather just stream it. But I was like, fuck it. Well, I couldn't find it, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna have to."
Yeah, maybe you can rent it.
I would rather I'd rather physically own it than own it digitally.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
which is funny because you ask Rain that 10 years ago, he'd rather have it digitally than physically.
Oh boy.
Now I'd rather have it physically. Anyway,
you've changed.
I know. Same with music now.
Yeah.
I always wanted the CD. I would never buy music off iTunes. I'd always rip it into iTunes.
Oh right.
I haven't bought a CD. Well, no, I buy a vinyl.
Right.
But it's all Apple Music now.
So. That's all Apple Music, man.
But anyway, well, man, I mean,
I think we've exhausted.
I think we have. I mean, we'll probably be right under an hour, so it's all good.
It's not so bad.
So are you ready to wrap up?
I am. Guys, I think that Harpo, Chico, Zeppo, and Groucho, I think they're hilarious. Well, Zeppo not so much, but I think that, they've stood the test of time. They've done it.
For sure.
They've succeeded.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, you've probably seen Groucho in some reference.
Emulated in some way, shape, or form. One of my favorite non-Groucho bits is, it's in Family Guy. Hold on. It's in Family Guy. Carter is in the hospital. and or maybe he's like having a heart attack and they need to take him to the hospital. Either way, they're like, all right, we gotta take him out. We gotta go. And then he goes, wait. Before I do that, look, I turned him into Groucho Marx. And then he had drew a mustache and eyebrows on him. And
What, Peter did?
yeah, and
Oh,
then
awesome.
Carter's wife goes, that's hilarious. So anytime I think something's really funny, I go, that's hilarious. It's too funny. So anyway, that's one of my favorite Groucho, non-Groucho bits. But
Yeah.
and of course the whole bit where I don't know what movie it's in, but he goes, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How I got in my pajamas, I'll never know. And he's got his cigar, and
Yeah.
I've heard that a million times.
I know there's somewhere where I think I know. I think it was Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey.
Oh my god.
Yes. I'm 95% certain it was Master of Disguise.
Wow. Hey guys, you've ever seen Master of
It
Disguise?
has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes is trash, but I do agree that it's not fantastic. But when I was a kid, it was the shit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, are you ready to find out what we're talking about next week?
I am. I'm excited.
Because you didn't want to know any spoilers.
No spoilies.
Which, like I said a couple weeks ago, that if we do the, pick a number, it loses its fun.
It does lose its fun.
So next week, it's been a while since we have talked about our good friend, Charlie Kaufman.
Okay. Nice.
Next week, we're talking about Adaptation.
Ooh, that's fun.
All I know about this movie is Nick Cage plays Charlie Kaufman and Charlie's twin.
Yeah.
So Nick is playing a double role, which, double the Cage in one movie. It's perfect.
Recommendation for you.
Okay.
Watch Being John Malkovich first. It takes place during the filming of Being John Malkovich.
Oh.
So I think you'd get a lot more out of it if you see that first. And that goes for you guys at home also. If you guys are going to watch Adaptation, watch Being John Malkovich first.
Is Being John Malkovich at Not Hastings? The Criterion?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Damn it.
Because I want to say I was up there last weekend when I got my Thundercat vinyl. And I was looking at the Criterion to see. Oh, yeah. When I got Licorice Pizza, I didn't see it.
Oh, damn it.
I'm going to have to order it.
Fuck.
Oh, well. It's not a big deal.
Who cares? I love Charlie Kaufman, and I love Adaptation.
Yeah. Now, he only wrote the script, correct? He didn't direct it?
Spike Jonze did?
No.
No.
I know Spike did.
No, because Spike Jonze did.
Big John Malkovich.
I'll tell you right now.
While he looks that up. Yeah, so yeah, man, it's my turn to pick a Charlie Kaufman movie. You've picked the last three.
It is Spike Jonze.
So Spike did both back to back?
Yeah.
Damn, son, Spike. My guy. Then again, he did also produce a shit ton of Jackass at the same time. He was,
Yeah, this movie's fucking great.
So that's what I've heard. Now, is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it both? Is it...
It's both. Yeah. It really is just a story of...
Because I know the point of the movie, and then we'll close, everyone. Hang on. We need to stretch this. I know the point of the movie is Charlie's trying to adapt this book.
Yes. That is unadaptable.
And he's struggling, so instead, he writes a script of him adapting the book.
It's very meta.
And then creates this twin character to help with the neuroses and things like that.
Kind of. It's also, just instead of Nick Cage talking to no one or having narration, he's just talking to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that's hold on, I'm gonna sneeze.
Don't do it.
Oh shit, I hate sneezing. It's more of just the horrors of the creative process.
No,
It's the struggles, the anxieties, and the pressure of the creative process, and the pressure you put on yourself.
Of a screenwriter trying to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, as we've talked about in Charlie's other three films, shout out to... I'm thinking of ending things.
Yeah.
Still trying to get Ashley to watch it. But she keeps like...
She don't like the book. If she don't like the book, she's not gonna like the movie.
I've assured her she'll love the movie.
Really? Okay.
Because... as I stressed, hey, everyone go listen to that episode, by the way. I'll link it. Listen to my wife's episode. where I was on talking about thinking of ending things, I told her that the surrealism in the book makes more sense in the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Again, you need both.
Yeah. But
Can't stress that enough, guys.
Anyway. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So Adaptation next week, man.
Adaptation, that's exciting.
Yeah. So everyone, we hope you enjoyed this. It's been a while since we've done an episode probably this short. I would say probably after I edit it, I have a sneaking suspicion it'll probably be 55.
It's a shorty.
But we hope everyone enjoyed Duck Soup, and we will see you next week for Adaptation.